Have you ever wondered how your favorite ketchup is made? It might surprise you to learn that the tangy, tomato-based condiment we all know and love today has quite an unexpected origin story. The first version of ketchup didn't even include tomatoes at all. The word ketchup comes from the Hokkien Chinese word ketchup, which was a type of fish sauce. This early version of ketchup was actually a fermented paste made from fish entrails, meat byproducts, and soybeans. Doesn't sound quite as appetizing, does it? It wasn't until the late 17th century that explorers brought this sauce to the Western world. The Europeans loved it, but they started to experiment by replacing the original ingredients with items more readily available to them, like mushrooms, walnuts, and finally tomatoes. And so the ketchup we're familiar with started to take form. Interesting, right? Now let's dive into the process of how it's actually made. The first step in making ketchup is gathering all the necessary ingredients. Let's start with the star of the show, our tomatoes. We're looking for the ripest, juiciest specimens that pack a flavorful punch. Tomatoes are not just the base of our ketchup, but they also bring a beautiful, vibrant red hue that's synonymous with this beloved condiment. Next, we have vinegar. Vinegar plays a crucial role in ketchup. It adds that distinctive tang that we all know and love. It also acts as a preservative, helping our ketchup stay fresh and tasty for longer. Then, we have sugar. Sugar balances out the acidity from the tomatoes and vinegar, giving ketchup its characteristic sweet and tangy taste. It's important to get just the right amount of sweetness without overpowering the other flavors. Salt is another key player. It enhances the overall flavor, making all the other ingredients pop. Salt also aids in preserving the ketchup, ensuring it lasts as long as possible. Lastly, we have our blend of spices and flavorings. This is where the magic happens. Each ketchup recipe has its own unique blend, but common ingredients include onion powder, garlic powder, and a mix of spices such as allspice and cloves. These spices elevate the ketchup, adding depth and complexity to its flavor profile. And let's not forget about water. While it may seem like a simple ingredient, water is essential for breaking down the tomatoes and helping all the flavors meld together. All these ingredients come together to create a condiment that's loved worldwide. From the ripe tomatoes to the balanced blend of vinegar, sugar, and salt, to the unique mix of spices and flavorings, each ingredient plays a vital role in making ketchup the tangy, sweet, and savory delight that it is. With all these ingredients at hand, we're ready to start the process. Now that we have all the ingredients, it's time for the preparation. Let's begin with the star of our show, the tomatoes. These juicy delights are thoroughly washed to ensure they are as clean as a whistle. This is an important step, not just for hygiene purposes, but also to ensure that we're working with the very best raw materials. Once they're sparkling clean, next comes the sorting process. Any tomatoes that are overly ripe, bruised, or damaged in any way are put aside. We're only interested in the crème de la crème, the top-tier tomatoes that will give our ketchup its rich, vibrant flavor. Now comes the exciting part. It's time to transform these whole tomatoes into a smooth and delightful puree. This involves crushing the tomatoes to break down their structure. As they are crushed, they release their beautiful, vibrant juices, which will form the base of our ketchup. But what's ketchup without some added zing? That's where our spices and flavorings come in. Each one is carefully measured and prepared. The spices are ground to a powder, and the flavorings, such as garlic and onions, are finely chopped. This ensures that they blend seamlessly with the tomato puree, infusing it with their unique flavors and aromas. And then, it's time for the vinegar. It's added to the mix to give our ketchup that signature tang. The vinegar also acts as a preservative, helping to keep our ketchup fresh for longer. Lastly, we add the sweetener. This could be sugar, honey, or even a sugar substitute. The sweetener balances out the acidity of the tomatoes and vinegar, creating that perfect sweet and tangy balance that we all know and love. And there you have it. That's the preparation process in a nutshell. It's a labor of love, but the end result is so worth it. Once the preparation is done, we move on to the cooking process. The cooking process is where the magic happens and our ketchup starts to take shape. This stage is where all our prepared ingredients come together, transforming into the tangy, sweet, and rich condiment we all know and love. The tomato puree, vinegar, sugar, salt, and spices are gently introduced into a large pot, forming a vibrant mosaic of flavors and aromas. Now it's time to turn up the heat, quite literally. With a careful hand, we adjust the stove to a moderate heat. This is not a race, but a slow, deliberate dance of flavors. As the heat rises, the mixture begins to bubble and froth like a miniature culinary volcano. We stir continuously to ensure that our mixture doesn't stick to the bottom of the pot. The stirring process is not just a practical necessity, but also a means to encourage the flavors to mingle and meld. It's like a social gathering for ingredients, where the spices get to know the sugar, the vinegar meets the tomato puree, and the salt ties everything together. While the mixture simmers, the water in the tomato puree slowly evaporates, leaving behind a thicker, more concentrated sauce. The vinegar and sugar work in harmony, creating that signature balance of tanginess and sweetness that makes ketchup so irresistible. As the sauce thickens, the color deepens, evolving into that iconic ruby red we associate with ketchup. It's a visual transformation that mirrors the deepening and maturation of flavors within the pot. The cooking process continues for several hours, allowing the sauce to reduce and the flavors to intensify. This slow, patient simmering is the secret to a ketchup that is rich, robust, and bursting with flavor. It's a labor of love that requires patience and care, but the end result is absolutely worth it. After hours of simmering, we're almost at the end of our journey, but there's one final step. This last step is as crucial as the cooking process itself, ensuring that our homemade ketchup is as perfect as can be. Stay tuned to find out. The last step in the process is bottling our delicious ketchup. Now this is where all the hard work pays off and our tangy tomato treasure is ready to be shared with the world. Let's dive right into it. The bottling process is a fascinating blend of precision and speed. It's crucial that the ketchup is poured into the bottles while it's still piping hot. Why, you ask? Well, it's all about preserving that freshness we've been working so hard to achieve. You see, the heat from the ketchup creates a vacuum seal as it cools down inside the bottle. This seal, in addition to the acidity of the tomatoes, helps to keep our ketchup fresh, vibrant, and full of flavor. But it's not as simple as just pouring hot ketchup into a bottle. Oh no, my friends, the process is a symphony of well-timed movements. The bottles, which have been sanitized and prepped, are lined up on a conveyor belt. They speed along this belt, ready to be filled with our sumptuous sauce. A machine then dispenses the exact predetermined amount of ketchup into each bottle. This ensures consistency, so every bottle contains the same delicious, tangy taste. The ketchup is dispensed at a temperature of about 190 degrees Fahrenheit. That's hot. Remember, timing is everything. As soon as the bottles are filled, they are immediately capped and sealed. This step is crucial to create that all-important vacuum seal I mentioned earlier. The bottles are then swiftly whisked away to be cooled, labeled, and packed, ready to be shipped to stores and ultimately to your dinner table. It's a marvel, isn't it? The way such a simple product requires such intricate planning, precision, and care. It's a testament to the love and dedication that goes into making every bottle of ketchup. And there you have it, your favorite ketchup made from scratch. So, to summarize the process of making ketchup, it all begins with the careful selection of ripe, juicy tomatoes and the right blend of spices. These ingredients are then prepared meticulously, ensuring the tomatoes are washed, chopped, and crushed to perfection. The spices are mixed in just the right proportions to create that unique ketchup flavor we all know and love. Next, the cooking process is crucial. The prepared ingredients are slowly cooked, allowing the flavors to meld together beautifully. The heat breaks down the tomatoes, releasing their natural sweetness, while the spices infuse the mixture with a tangy kick. Finally, the bottling process is where it all comes together. The cooked mixture is strained, leaving behind a smooth, thick sauce. This sauce is then carefully poured into bottles, ready to be enjoyed with your favorite meals. And that, my friends, is how your favorite ketchup is made. Tune in next time to discover how other everyday items are made.